These are little things that you learn with more reps and experience. And it was like we connected on that.
But and that is, there's so much you've said that's valuable. And by the way,
I know, right? I'm pretty smart. But yeah, go ahead. Oh my goodness!
I want to talk.
Promise y'all, I'm way more quiet.
So bad right now. I just want to talk shit. So
I'm way more quiet than this.
By the way, I love this version of us as opposed to us on the basketball court.
Yes,
entirely different. The volume is higher.
Yes,
the shit talk is higher.
Most people don't believe that I don't really scream regularly in life. I really talk right here at this volume.
But this is not the same person, but that's why we do it. But how's my skin?
Oh my!
Come on, be real. Come on, take a look. Come on.
You didn't put on makeup for this, did you?
I didn't put makeup on this, but I've been moisturizing regularly.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, and I got a serum. I got moisturizer. I had a facial. I got another one scheduled.
Nice.
Oh yeah,
I need a pedicure.
It's treat yourself week for me. I'm not your age, Greg. I need help to look this pretty.
Me too.
You too?
Yes.
Well, you're road weary.
This isn't. Well, it's a lot of it's natural.
Are you going to stay awake today? That's all I want to know.
Probably not.
Probably not. Cool. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. I assume we've started, Kaylin?
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's how we do. It's your boy Mark, Bonfire Talks Podcast. Thank you very much for coming and being a part of this. Each week, both of you who join us, we appreciate. It's growing, Kaylin. Growing.
Oh, yeah.
Very slowly, but growing. But let's just say this before I get into my guest. I'll be making an announcement very soon that you may be excited about. Of course, if you have read it, it's already been leaked. So, and I'm probably in trouble. But that I can't talk about yet, but it's coming soon. Today, however, I have one of my dear friends who said, sure, he'll come and be here. I'm going to give you a little bit of background on him, but I'm going to let him fill in the blanks. Just came off the road. He's a professional musician, drummer by trade, but also you produce music and a little bit of that. But a professional drummer at the top level, who I met on the basketball court because he is loud as fuck and calls every foul, and then we became friends.
Yes.
But just came off the road Saturday? No, when did you come home? Sunday, after doing a multi-city tour with R&B artist. R&B, I guess she's hip-hop R&B. R&B artist Lettucey, who is brilliant. And Greg that's your latest gig. You've been on the road with Lettucey as her drummer.
Yes.
Living the dream. And now
Yes, I have.
you've gone from the Lettucey tour to the pinnacle of your career, being a guest on Bonfire Talks with your boy.
This is funny.
Well,
this is very funny.
Yeah. How you feeling?
Yes, I have. I feel great.
The reason I asked if you were going to stay awake is that for some reason, when you're off the road, my house might be the first stop when you come from the airport. This time because your car was in my garage.
Yes.
And the pay for keeping your car in my garage is that you had to come on a podcast.
Bingo. Correct.
So after this episode, regardless of the content, our debt is square.
Yes.
But what normally happens is like Greg said, yeah, I'm going to come by the house. I'm like, you're always welcome. Come on through. And I got family and whatever. We're watching like whatever event. I think it was an award show. It might have been like the Tonys or something was on.
Probably
and Greg comes in. I've got this massage chair in my living room, which I hate, but Robbie loves. And Greg came off the road, got on the massage chair. How long were you awake?
Maybe 15 minutes.
And how long did you? And you were there for several hours asleep in my chair.
Yes.
We put a blanket on you.
I was asleep.
People came in the house like, who's this? I'm like, don't worry about it.
Yes, I was asleep for at least a few hours.
Here's how I feel about that, Greg.
Okay.
I feel like that to me means that you feel safe in my home.
Yeah, I don't really fall asleep places that aren't comfortable. I don't like to go places that aren't comfortable. that much.
Well, I take that as a compliment that you come hang out at my place.
100%. It's cool, man. Yeah. It's cool. It's fun. Great environment. Great family.
My family loves you more than they love me. Robbie is like Robbie doesn't like anybody at the house.
Oh my!
She loves
goodness.
you. Morgan loves you. Everybody loves you.
Yes.
And Goldie loves you, even though you totally.
What did I do?
You scared the shit out of her ex-boyfriend. And we really shouldn't talk about him too much, but let's talk about that.
Okay.
Where were we?
We were at a we were at an outside event that was going on during COVID. Some friends of mine, Stanley Randolph and Brandon Brown, they did a outside hang during COVID so that people could have something to do because there was nothing to do. We all went, and Mark came, and his family came, and
first of all, Brandon's my friend too.
Yes, Brandon is 100% his friend.
But he threw this sort of kickback at his studio, but it would be out in the alley, like in the parking lot.
Yes.
And it grew to be a big thing.
Really
I laugh because you're much younger than me.
Okay.
You're way in the music scene.
Okay.
I'm not that dude. And so I showed up the first night by myself, rolled in by myself, hanging out.
Yes.
And everybody thought I was a cop.
I can see that. I can see that 100%. But yeah, you're not a cop.
No, I'm not. As a matter of fact,
you're far from a cop.
I could have been arrested with everybody else.
That part.
Yeah.
100%. And at that time, it was, everybody was just kind of looking for something.
Something normal.
It was literally nothing to do but go stand in an alley behind a studio and just kind of listen to music and just kind of see other humans, because that was a weird. I mean, it seems like it wasn't that long ago, but that was a weird time,
right? And what at that period of time, we just come out of COVID, like so just like almost every guest I have, it connects to the Hollywood Y. That's where we met.
Yeah,
that basketball game has been there forever, and then COVID hit, and the Y shut down, and we were all kind of spread to the world. And then when we started coming out of the cave and started to live again, it was Brandon Brown who posted on his Insta that he was playing ball in the park. Now, this is before it was like officially okay to be doing that. True. But I hit him up. I'm like, where are you playing? He told me where. I'm like, that's around my house. And we all started playing basketball in the park on cement like we're 12 years old.
Yes.
Right. And that was good.
It was a really fun time because, I mean, technically, we kind of started doing things.
Yeah, we should have been wearing masks and stuff.
But it literally was nothing to do, like from playing basketball outside to, and we were a little selective of who we did it with, but because it was a weird time,
and the gyms were closed.
Like everything was closed.
Yeah.
So
during that time, Brandon started that kind of hang on Tuesday nights or whatever, and it was sort of an invited thing. At first, it was free.
It was, but for a very long time, it was free because they started it like the end of 2020.
Yeah, it was just like,
which we probably shouldn't have been doing it.
Yeah, so
but it was people. I feel like people like kept it as safe as possible, like just kind of standing away from each other, and it being outside helped a lot. But yeah, it was a fun thing to hear music, to hear different artists just come and be seen and be heard, and
the vibe. Now, I joke that I look like a cop because I was definitely older than everybody there.
Yes.
And ethnically, I was absolutely a minority there.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Fair to say, right?
Yes.
But the vibe was, as is always the vibe around our friends, was inclusive and great and just... And I kept running into people from the court or basketball, whatever, who were also huge musicians. This is where I started to learn it.
Yes.
Michael, who's not just a point guard, is actually singing backup for everybody. And,
yes.
Corey Henry is a huge star.
Yes. And it's funny because the LA hoop, a lot of it, I don't think it's purposefully, but like indirectly, everybody who we play basketball with, like they do something outside of trying to have a NBA career? Because none of us are going to have NBA careers.
Well, here's what I was talking about a couple episodes ago.
Right.
After I went to see Keith Harris's show with Church Boy.
Yes.
Renard Hughes, I think his last name is.
Yes.
I don't know anybody's last name because we just, whatever you sign up on the board, that's who you are. To a whole world of people, I'm MW.
Yes.
That's who I am.
Yes.
But what I love about our relationship and my relationship with Reggie and all of our friends is that my relationship started there.
Right.
With no context. You were just a dude I played ball with, and we connected, and we became friends before I had any idea what it was you did. I said this to Keith. Edie, another one of our friends, a bass player. Turns out that all of my friends are the rhythm section of major bands.
Pretty much.
There's not one keyboard player in the group, but all drummers and bass players. But I love that our friendships were all based on real shit. And then I discovered who you all were,
right?
And you discovered who I was, stuff like that. And you're like, oh, okay, so you're like something for real in the world. You're not just a dude who calls fouls all the time. I'm not speaking about you personally, but
yeah, not me, because I'm kind of unstoppable on the court. But
your mouth is unstoppable on the court.
But here's the thing.
And as once you learn you're left-handed, you're stoppable.
That's impossible. That's impossible.
Well, we'll talk about it.
I
know I get my licks in. I tore your shirt. I've bruised you a million times.
Yeah, Mark is definitely a fouler.
You would have beat the shit out of me if I wasn't your friend.
True, but I also always pick him because he's a good player. I enjoy playing the game with him. But the interesting part
I like it when he speaks of me in third person like I'm not here.
Yeah, that part.
But get that. He picks me because he likes the way I play. Get that.
Yes. Yeah,
that part matters.
He can play. But no, it was one of those things where, like, I don't know if you remember that we actually started playing basketball in it was like early 2019.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
And I hadn't moved to LA yet. I was here on a tour.
You were in DC still?
I was still in D.C. Yeah. I hadn't moved here yet. I came to play basketball with Reggie at the Y.
Yeah.
And I met all of the Y people a couple of times, actually. And it was, it was fun. It's really, really fun. I met all you guys. And then I moved here, and then the world shut down.
Yeah.
So
good move.
It's like, we didn't play ball. But even Keith Harris, he had no idea I was a musician.
Right.
Because we met on the basketball court. So
Keith Harris, I mentioned before, he's the musical director for the Black Eyed Peas.
Yes.
He has his own band, the Keith Harris
100%.
Experience. Reggie, I should shout out to. Reggie Johnson.
Phenomenal musician. I grew up
phenomenal
with
musician. Has his own band, Loudest Funk Band, I think is what it's called.
Yes.
He's out there playing with Babyface.
Yes.
These are my...
These are all basketball friends.
These are our guys.
They didn't... Well, the only person who really knew what I did was Reggie.
Yeah.
Nobody else did because we were playing ball. And, Reggie would tell me on the side, he does this, he does that, he plays with this person. It's like, cool. My main focus was trying to make sure whoever I was playing basketball with, had something to lose. The reason why I say that is because...
You mean money?
No, not not
you
money.
love to do that.
Not true. Not money, but just more so people who have things to do outside of basketball.
That's right.
They play different.
That's right. So we can play and nobody's going to get shot, killed, or broken arm.
Bingo. 100%.
Except I might break your arm because I'm a little out of control.
Exactly. But, it's fun.
That's true. That's a very good point.
It's especially at, being older in age, you just gotta be careful about those things because,
you hear that?
It just is. I'm older in age.
Oh, you're older in age.
Yes, I'm talking about me.
Okay.
I'm talking about me. It's, just being mindful of, people.
Okay. Here's how it goes now for me at the gym. And I think it's partly because the show doesn't make me dye my hair anymore.
Okay.
So I'm showing up like this. And when the teams get picked, it's like I'll take Greg, I'll take Kalen, I'll take Reggie, and OG, which does not stand for original gangster. It stands for old guy.
Either or, depending on the day.
Yeah, depending on the day.
Either or, depending on how Mark is playing that day.
Now, I notice I don't get nearly as many passes my way. Not because I've messed up, but if you don't know me or played with me before, you're not passing to me.
True.
Unless I'm running with you guys, and then you're still not passing to me, but occasionally you give me a little something.
But also, Mark likes to take breaks from basketball. Extended breaks.
Okay. So it's about fitness?
He likes to take breaks and go play golf and go do all kind of things other than playing basketball.
All right, fair enough.
So, yes,
fair enough.
That's what he does. But
let's turn a corner to, let's celebrate you.
Okay. Sure.
Because, okay, you're always down for that. That much. Because here's the thing, man. I don't know if I've ever said this. I think you get this. I don't know if I've said it or need to say it. But all of our friends, I'm so proud of what you guys are doing out in the world. I crow about it all the time. And I saw Greg play with Lettucey when she was doing that gig at the Hollywood Bowl.
That was fun.
That was great. Seeing your dude on the Hollywood Bowl stage is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they even got backstage afterwards because I know people.
You're famous.
Yeah. Yeah, it has nothing to do with my fame. Or lack of. So here's the questions Robbie wanted me to ask you.
Okay.
First of all, you played with some big acts.
Right.
I mean, you played, I think Herbie Hancock was there the night you were playing, right?
Yeah, that night in the Hollywood Bowl, everybody was there.
Yeah, everybody.
Everybody in entertainment was there because that specific gig, she started doing this run of like Lettucey Sings Nina, and she was doing a tribute to Nina Simone,
right?
With all of a bunch of different orchestras, and the first one I think was the LA Philharmonic. So people who probably haven't heard of her, but had tickets or season tickets, things like that, came to see it because it's Nina Simone, and they were very shocked and surprised at how much she executes all of that with ease.
So now you just came off of how many cities did you just do?
Oh, man. We just did like 28 or 27 cities.
So we have a very similar lifestyle in that we're both bus and trucking it out there.
Yes.
But that's what I wanted to ask you to see the difference between when you're on tour with Wheel of Fortune live.
Okay.
Because you know how we throw down.
Correct.
And when you're on tour as a working musician in Lettucey's group.
Right.
How does that differ? Are you sleeping on the bus?
Yeah. So for the majority of the time, especially when we're traveling to the next city, sleeping on the bus.
But you're doing more than one night in a city?
No.
Okay.
So most of these is like
set
that
up,
night,
sound check, show, drinks, bus.
Yes, and we go to the next city. And there are off days in between, and we have, we hotels on the off days and things like that. But when it's city to city to city, it's, bus call 2 a.m., bus call 3 a.m., and we're leaving.
How many people on your bus?
This time, it was about, I feel like it was maybe 10.
So 11. Almost the same.
Yeah.
So you had the 3 bunks on each, 3 and 3 and 3 and 3?
Yep.
Same exact thing.
100%.
Of course, Lettucey's not there.
She's actually, this tour, she was on the bus with us.
She had the back lounge as a bedroom.
Yes. Yes, she did.
All right.
So,
all right, Lettucey.
It was very...
I respect.
Yes.
Respect for being on the bus with the boys.
Yes, and it was cool.
We play the same places.
100%.
That's 100%. What kills me. It's such a different lifestyle. But then when I show up to a theater or a casino especially, and I see a poster on the wall of who's coming next, it's John McReynolds.
Yep.
It's Kenyon Dixon. Yep. Or all these people whose paths we've crossed on the basketball court or wherever, or Brandon's backyard, and it just blows my mind that I'm doing this game show and they're doing
literally
this.
Like it's interesting what people want to see, what people pay to see, and how it connects in a way that most people don't even think it would connect. Like you would never think the people from Wheel of Fortune game show are connected to these R&B shows. You would just never think it, but they are. Like,
well, we're all far more alike than we are different.
100%, 100%.
And can we just say that again for those of you in the back, that all of us are far more alike.
Yes.
And quite honestly, if you want to go back, it depends on how far back you go, we're all related.
100%.
Like cousins. So think about that next time you're honking at a guy on the freeway.
100%.
Right.
Yes.
Now, however, not all your cousins you love. Families deep.
Yes.
So all right, let's talk about biggest biggest arena, a biggest show you played, like your biggest. Let me start over. When was your first like professional gig where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this?
Oh wow.
I know exactly what it was for me.
So like I have been doing this professionally since about 2007, somewhere in there, 2007, 2008. But the one gig that just kind of stands out, like it's a whole long. Actually, it's not long, but I'm gonna give you the whole cliff notes. So
I got nowhere to go until like May. So just
oh my goodness,
you need to say.
So I get called to do a show with a singer by the name of Raheem Devon, R&B guy, phenomenal, great performer, a lot of big songs, everything, all that kind of stuff. So he's contracted to play a show in Aruba with the musical acts were him and Mary J. Blige. The comedic acts were Mark Carey, one other guy, and Kevin Hart. And I honestly can't remember if it was a situation where where Kevin
wasn't the headliner.
Went before Mark.
Right, because Mark Curry had the sitcom Hanging with Mr. Cooper and all that stuff.
Yeah. So
he was like, big and Kevin maybe not
100%. So I'm really trying to remember, but the reason why it stands out is because we were all there in Aruba. And I think it was a 2-night situation. We played I can't think we played the first night. And the second night it was different acts and all that. But after the first night, we kind of got out of there. We were all hanging out on the beach and just hanging out. Everybody was hanging out, doing their thing, blah, blah, blah. Went back up to the hotel room to talk business with the musical director then, a guy named Bob Terry. He's worked with everybody. And the bass player on the gig named Nate Fields. And we were talking just like this, and the lights went out. And we didn't really think anything about it because it's like, just it was one lamp. Nobody's really paying attention. As the sun went down, we noticed everything was dark. So apparently the power had gone out.
Aruba went out.
On the whole island.
Yes.
So what happens is the people who all kind of came together, like it was an interesting thing because Raheem Camp, Mary's Camp, Kevin Hart, Mark Curry, like everybody started like moving together because it was like, I don't know if you've ever been on an island when the power goes out, but it's pitch black.
Who the fuck are you talking to?
True.
You remember the name of my show?
Very true.
Please.
Very true. But it's like, it's pitch black. So we're like, and the comedy show was on the same night where everything went out. So you imagine an arena where it's an outside arena or something like that, comedy show. It's no light, so it's a bunch of flashlights, things like that. Like that one probably sticks out to me the most crazy.
I get it. I've had very similar situations, and the takeaway, y'all, is sometimes a shared challenge.
Yes, 100%.
Is where the good stuff happens.
100%.
And it happens, and the audience is in on it too. Like when things go sideways as a performer.
Yes.
When the audience is in on the joke, sees you coming over it. Taylor Swift, it's raining and she does her thing, or the lights go out, or Kevin Hart goes down and can do comedy without a mic or whatever. It brings us together, doesn't tear us apart.
100%, 100%. And it was a fun night. The actual space we played at, it was an actual soccer coliseum. Mm-hmm. So it's like, in terms of the biggest space, that might have been the biggest space.
Yeah, it's big.
Like an actual
What's
soccer.
the worst gig? Like, what's the one night of performing or playing that just is the cringiest night of your life? I have several to pick from.
I'm trying to think. Because I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday. There was a show on the tour where it might have been either New Orleans or like York, Pennsylvania, somewhere. Where
did you play Mahalia Jackson Hall in New Orleans? You don't know.
That sounds yes.
Next to a big park that's kind of sketchy and you don't want to walk through?
Yes.
I was there a month before you.
That's exactly where we played. But I was talking yesterday to somebody because they kind of asked the same question, and it was one of those things where it's like people who are not having a great time at a show and people who are having an awesome time at a show but give zero crowd response, they look exactly the same. They mirror each other. So, like, for example, I would say probably York is the first stop on the tour. It was
Pennsylvania?
Like
York, Pennsylvania?
Yeah, York,
Played
PA. It was just like, it was one of those things where, like, the crowd was very much like, they were excited, but it was just, because it was the first show and working all the kinks out, it was a little interesting. But I don't think we actually had a bad show. In New Orleans.
Isn't it interesting as a performer?
Right.
And you're insulated by, you're on stage, you're hearing everything, you're doing your thing, and the audience is removed, right?
Right.
But the vibe of what's going on between you, the conversation that you're having is so, I don't think that people in the audience realize how much those of us on stage are feeling you both negatively and positively.
Yes, 100%.
Except for the ones who aren't good at what they do, who choose not to listen to that.
100%.
Do you think Lettucey changes, and do you guys change the vibe based on that when you're playing?
So, some artists do, and some artists don't. With her, it's one of those things where this show was really scripted out from it was essentially a show to show off some of her new songs that a lot of the crowd had never heard. But she also played her hit records, and then she played the songs that have had very high streaming numbers for a long period of time. So that was the set list. So it always takes a bit of a dip when you start doing the new songs that people never heard.
Same thing with anybody, Springsteen or anybody.
100%, especially when it's those artists where a lot of people who come, they want to hear the hit songs.
Yeah,
they want to hear them.
Yeah.
It just so happens the new songs that she put on this record, like, they're really, 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 really feel good 80s, 90s R&B feeling songs.
So you can get into the groove if you don't know the lyric.
100%.
Got it.
But, people who are in a crowd, they want to hear their song, and you're playing a song that's not their song. You almost they have to believe you believe it before they start believing it. If you're up there on stage singing or playing the song and you look like you're not enjoying it, then they're not going to enjoy it. So the same way we feed off of their energy, they're watching our energy to see these motherfuckers don't like it, so why should we like it?
I get that even in my world. And here's the comparison, is that when I walk out on stage to do whatever I'm doing, I'm talking live events, not TV, but TV too.
100%.
You got to be like you're in my house.
100%.
And you're welcome here. And I'm going to make sure we're going to have a great time.
Yes.
And I'm going to just give props to one of our guys, mostly because I've yelled at him on the basketball court. I gave him props last week. I can't call fouls on him anymore. But Renard, church boy, is a mess on a basketball court, although probably most improved player.
It's horrible.
It's easy. But who he was on stage the night I saw him was exactly that. He 100%. Walked into the living room and said to everybody else, I'm going to have fun.
Yes.
And everybody came with him.
Yes. It almost makes you forget how horrible of a basketball player he is. Because when he gets on stage, it's like,
But that's what I'm talking about. That's what I love about us, is that we have a friendship based on what we don't, not who we are.
Yes.
And when I have had the chance to see the people I've grown to love just from basketball, from that fraternity, when I see them doing what they were born to do, when I see you on stage at the Hollywood Bowl, and I see Renard and Keith not only doing what they do, but sharing that friendship on stage, and that's 100%. Where it comes from, that moves me. And just to be clear, Ray, I think you've gotten incredibly better.
Horrible. Stop fouling.
I threw a basketball at his head the other day.
Why?
Because I got a fat lip on the foul.
Exactly.
That it wasn't even his foul. And I said foul, and he started yelling at me, that's not a foul, that's not a foul, that's not a foul. And then this is when you become 12 years old. And I'm like, what's this? You think I gave my... And then you're like, and then I'm realizing I'm a full-grown man with a career. What am I doing? And then I'm like going, and besides that, it's about respect. If I say foul, it's a foul. That's what's up.
Exactly.
It's not about a negotiation, Ray. We don't start a negotiation because I said foul.
No.
That's not when you start telling me why it is or isn't, and you don't know. That said, 100%. Ray, you've gotten incredibly better, and I'm about where you are at. So I'm the last one to talk shit, like Greg likes to talk shit about your game, which is getting better. You hit 2 3-pointers over me. Props to you.
And I love.
But I threw a basketball at him.
Exactly.
Mostly because I knew he probably wouldn't fight me, and I'm going to be okay.
But it's also one of those things where it's just like, and I love Ray, but it's like the person who fouls the most is the one to say that's not a foul. It's insane.
You know what? You know why I'm laughing? I was that dude for years.
Okay.
When I think about things I did on the basketball court and what I thought I was doing.
Yeah. It's drastically different.
Drastically. It's only recently I learned not how to play basketball well, Kalen, but how bad I have been. How I learned, which then speaks to the level of friendship.
Yes.
Because if these guys didn't love me, they'd have beat the shit out of me for years. I was absolutely that dude.
Yes.
And still may be a little bit, but not so much. I'm not quite the hack I was.
But you're, cooler head. It's literally, you just said, got upset because of fat lip, and then I said, what am I doing? Because
I still threw the basketball at him, though.
Yeah, he probably deserved it.
Yeah.
It's like,
and then we hug it out afterwards. I mean,
100%. Like, you never really leave with, like, an actual, like, I hate that guy. I mean, that just goes to the testament of the people who we play ball with.
That's true. That's
like,
true.
we literally like playing basketball with each other and hanging out and all that kind of stuff.
But it also is the place where all your childhood triggers
100%
get worked out.
100%.
It's a place where we allow ourselves to be 13.
Because you're going to work them out.
Yeah.
You have to work them out. We all are too old to be trying to fight over a foul or over a bad call.
Just stop.
Anything.
Say less. We're all too old to get in a fight.
True.
Period.
Very true.
This shit is too pretty for that. Look at this.
Oh my
Look at it. Look closely. I've been moisturizing. Look at it.
That's insane.
I know.
Oh my goodness. What else did Robbie want to know?
Robbie wanted to know.
Oh my goodness.
What do you ever mess up?
Yeah.
And when you mess up, like I used to sing and dance back in the day.
Okay.
And occasionally I'd do a guitar song. Like that was my thing.
Okay.
And one big show, they wanted me to do, this is folk song, and it had an opening. A guitar, like there'd be a spot on you. There's going to be a number with 30 kids. But it started, it's this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. That was it. Appropriating all kinds of people's shit to do this. All right, let's be clear. I just want to let you know, this was way before we understood stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And it had this guitar lick that started it.
Right.
And then the girl walks out, this little light of mine. And once we got to that, I'd be okay. I practiced it. It's my turn. I'm going to be that dude, right? I got a pick. I got my guitar. I go da-dun, and my thumb and the pick go in the hole, in between the strings. The pick goes into the guitar, click, 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 and I'm literally, my thumb is stuck in the string. I pull it out, and that has scarred me to where I will not play a guitar in front of anyone.
Oh my God,
that's
horrible. Again.
So, as a drummer,
yes,
because you're not really a musician.
Okay, we'll go with that. Whoa, we'll go with that. We're the heartbeat, but okay, sure.
I'm just messing with you, dude. But when you're playing a big show and the artist is depending on you, not in a recording studio, although I'm sure that's an issue too, but in a live show, have you ever like really shit the bed? What's the most like?
No.
When the smoke comes up and you're like, oh my God.
No.
You haven't?
And I have never really shit the bed. Have I messed up? Yes.
Does the artist turn back and look at you like, what?
So it's one of those things where it's like, I'm an over preparer, however you say it, whatever.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to that kind of stuff, it's like, I'm going to practice. I'm going to do like 100%, like know everything to the T, blah, blah, blah. I'm checking the drums. I'm checking every screw on the drums to make sure nothing is falling apart while I'm playing, because I've had that happen before.
Yes.
And, you know, just being very OCD when it comes to all of that. Now, has things happen like playing a song and try to do something and a stick flies out of my hand? Yes. But in some aspects, you should be prepared for the unexpected. You should be prepared for, oh, shoot, the stick flew over there. I just grab another stick and keep on doing it. You should be prepared for, like, there might be a 4-second window where you have to play the drums with one hand to get the other stick, or
and don't
just
panic.
Something. Like, for example, on the tour, the intro of the show is essentially like this keyboardy synth thing where it's just kind of like I'm just holding cymbals, and it's but they have a click. I have a click in my ear, so I'll know when to come in and when to fall out, things like that. One of the shows, the way my whole headphone thing is set, I have everything on stage. I have a separate channel for click, and I have a separate channel for the guide that tells me the intro, chorus, all that kind of stuff. The line for the click wasn't plugged in.
Oh, no.
So we're starting the show, so I'm going, and it's a very synthy, like ethereal thing. So I'm like,
you haven't established the tempo yet.
So I'm like, I'm playing and I'm holding, and I'm like, I don't hear the click. And they're trying to suss out what's going on. So I say into the mic, I'm like, I need somebody to give me a click. And I'm getting frustrated, and I look over at the bass player, and he literally starts nodding his head so aggressively.
That's where
I'll know it is until, because in those situations, like with her and a couple other artists I've done it with her, being the musical director, there's certain behaviors that I can't exhibit in front of everybody.
Well, by the way, this transcends I always think about stuff that people can take away. This is any professional situation. And by the way, I think there's an entire generation coming up
100%
that doesn't know to check themselves.
100%.
Humility.
100%.
You know, stay in your lane. Take it on the chin. Take the L, as the kids say sometimes, and work it out afterwards.
Yes.
Especially
when you have a team that, like, you pick the team, and you know everybody can do their job. You know they're very good at their job. But every now and again, some things go sideways. And the engineer, the monitor engineer for that show, I was like, I didn't talk to him for like the first 4 or 5 songs because that happened. And while we were playing, that's how fast you can get humble. While we were playing, I played something, and the stick broke. It either broke or it fell out of my hand. I think it broke. But in that moment, I had to, oh man, I need another stick. Boom, 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 and started playing. And I just started laughing because I'm like, he's very proficient at his job. It was just literally an oversight that we all forgot to check. Those things happen.
Well, first of all, even if they're not good at their job,
okay,
let's take that out. Even when you're working with people that do a subpar job, they fucked it up.
Right.
Now you need to talk about, are we going to win or be right? And when. So even if they fucked it up. I'm going to be right. Well, I know. I've seen you.
No. I'm trying to, like, when you start being in positions.
No, what I'm saying is, we do the gig.
Yeah.
You show grace.
100%. 100%.
You slow your roll, and then afterwards, not in a forum of everybody, you go up to that person and discuss what went wrong.
Oh, man. It depends on them. Sometimes you need sometimes you need a public lashing, but a lot of times it's literally like, you know, especially with people who aren't really great at their job, and they think they are the best at the job, and they consistently show you why they aren't great at the job. So you can do one or two things.
Well, that's different.
Yeah, that's definitely different, but it happens often enough. Nowadays we deal, especially in the industry. I mean, you notice we're dealing with musical directors or creative directors or management companies for artists that's working with artists, and they haven't been doing it long enough to really understand how things really go. I'm sure that happens in the acting world.
100%. It's in the producing world.
100%.
And what's scary is I can deal with somebody who doesn't know what they're doing and knows they don't.
100%.
What we're talking about are people who don't know what they're doing and think they do,
and are very arrogant about it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So the things you can do are, you can either be an asshole to them, or you can figure out ways to gain their, I don't want to say gain their trust because that sounds sneaky, but figure out ways to essentially be a light and show them like, hey, we're a team. We're trying to win. The way you're doing things is not a winning form of stuff. So I'm trying to give you some advice that'll help your career so that you won't be exposed. Because the reality is, if a road manager or creative director or musical director isn't sure what they're doing, and somebody around them knows what they're doing, sooner or later the artist is going to figure out, you don't know what you're talking about, because what this guy is saying makes perfect sense. So why haven't you been saying that? It's almost like the barriers that are set so that they'll never be exposed. But before we expose you, let me help, because I've been helped. Let me help so that we all are on the same page, so everybody's winning. That's
called what work experience gives you. What I've had to work on is, now I'm the old guy. I'm the old guy on a lot of sets.
Right.
Or live shows. And we'll have young people filling new positions that don't have the breadth of experience I have. Mm-hmm. I remember saying to somebody not long ago, I hope I don't out who it is.
Oh, my goodness.
We're doing something and something went down. And first of all, this goes under the heading that I'm working on, which is called unsolicited advice.
Right.
It's not that what I'm giving is wrong. It's if it didn't ask for it, that may not be the time to do it.
Right.
But I kind of said, hey, when this happens, you can't do this. And this person said to me, well, I'm not so sure about that. And I said, this is a little bit of my arrogance. I said, you know that book that tells you that an expert needs 10,000 hours in a situation? I got 100,000 hours. This is not opinion. This is fact. Don't question me. Now, I kind of like to flex because I don't often stand with myself like that. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like to be actually able to say, look, just so we're clear,
yes,
you're not at my level yet.
Yes.
And if I give you something, you need to take what I'm giving you as a gift. 100%. But then I learned that what you're saying, there's a way to do that. And the way to do that is when you see somebody who's not playing at your level, but thinks they are, and it's not working for you, I like to start with a question. How do you feel that went? Are you open to discuss it? And then it's not unsolicited advice. It's the same thing as when we now know that you can't be physical with people without consent. We need consent. This is, I think, you need consent to offer advice as well. Now, if you're somebody's boss, you can do what you want. But it's not about, but here's why. Okay. It's not about whether or not we're allowed to give advice to somebody who doesn't know. But it's about this is what you're saying. Do we want to win? So if I give you advice and you're resistant to it, I'm not winning. I'm just standing on your shoulders to be taller. What I want is to make a difference. What I want is to take what is broken that we'll both have responsibility in and educate it up so that we're better. We're better.
Yes.
And if it's not received, it doesn't land. And that is grace that comes with age, where your intention is for the growth, not to be right.
Yeah.
You understand that?
Because it's hard. It's hard to, and it comes with time.
You'll get there.
Because I'm I'm a big fan of, and most people who are older than me don't agree with it, but a lot of people say with age comes experience. I'm a big fan of with experience comes experience.
That's right.
And it's a tricky thing
because I've seen people who've been in the business for 30 years and haven't learned a damn thing.
They don't get it.
And the older you get, the worse it gets.
You get more set in your ways. You get stuck. So what happens is, are you able to take direction from someone you think is either less experienced than you, or because you don't really know what that person has done, or because they're just younger than you. And those kind of, like, I've been in situations where I've taken direction from people who've older than me, who are experienced, and then I've been put in positions where I'm in charge, and these people are working under me, and they have, not only do they have zero issue with taking, direction from me, but if I ask them questions like, hey, I'm in this position, I don't really know what's going on or how to do this. How did you do it?
That's so valuable.
That's extremely valuable.
No, what you said is valuable. Like, what you said is even when you find yourself in a leadership position.
Yes.
To be the leader who asks those subordinates of yours for advice on how to be better is leadership.
And you're talking about subordinates that have platinum records and have Grammys and things like that, and they have zero issue working under you. So if they can do it,
or maybe they have an issue, and it's your job now to find a way to get that.
Yeah, because it's been times where it's like they think they should be in charge, and it's like, I don't want to work with you, or it's a button of heads and things like that. And then there's been some that's like, nah, you in charge. Whatever you need us to do, however you need me to help.
But what you said that's really valuable there is whether you're in the leadership or subordinate position.
Yeah.
I always talk about being intentional.
Right.
Right. When your intention is that we as a team succeed, then when you're the leader, you can ask for advice.
100%.
Right. And then draw the boundaries of how far to go with that. And when you're the subordinate, you can be humble enough to learn.
100%.
The strength, one of the biggest strengths in life is knowing what you don't know. Knowing that you don't know everything.
Knowing that you don't know it. Yes. And being okay in that space. I don't know it, so what can I do to learn it?
And pretending to know it doesn't make you bigger.
Yeah.
So asking for advice is actually a strong move as opposed to a weak move.
100%. Asking for advice, being prepared. To go back to your fucking up a show thing, like really messing up a show, I don't think I've ever done that because I'm overly prepared. But I think what happens often is people confuse anxious energy, anxious nervousness, and underprepared nervousness. They look just alike. Like it's I'm ready to do it, or as opposed to I'm not ready to do it. And if you're prepared, it's like you'll be fine, but you got to get those reps in. Playing in front of a crowd where you're...
Sounds like you, Kalen.
Like, it is...
Hold on, because every time I do an episode and I walk out, I'm like, oh, that was terrible. He's like, you got to get those reps in. It's just getting that bad.
Yeah, you got to get the reps in. And
have you met my latest life coach?
Hilarious. I think a lot of what's going on now are people are skipping the reps. People
say that again.
People are becoming... social media famous, and just so we're clear, I am aware that there is a space for social media-ness, there's a space for real life-ness, and cross-migrating the two. But there is an issue when you're social media famous and you have 500,000 followers, but whatever you do can't fill up a 200-seat room. There's a disconnect. There's something.
No, you might be able to fill the room. May I? You may be able to fill the room, but when the sound breaks and the light breaks, can you still entertain that room? And what I call that is, when I've had to do a keynote or talk about it, my thing is the power of connection.
Yes.
That transcends everything else. The inherent connection we make is what gets you through those moments. Everything else falls down beside. I used to be a warm-up guy, right?
Okay, yes.
And I knew a lot of warm-up guys that come in with, they had props and gifts and candy and all that. I'm like, yo, as soon as I throw candy in the audience, the whole audience is only about getting candy.
Yep.
I said, I'm going in, this is it. This is what you're getting. I'm going to make a connection where we're going to groove together for as long as we need to.
Yes.
And that's going to be it. And I think what you're talking about is, you might be able to fill the room, but can you keep the room vibing? And that comes with reps.
Comes with reps.
And willingness to listen.
Willingness to do the reps. You cannot skip the process. The beautiful part of doing any of this, acting, musician, whatever, podcast, cook, chef, or whatever, the beauty is in the process. You cannot go from my first cooking lesson to a national cooking star without the process. You're going to burn some shit. You're going to undercook some shit. You're going to get tricked on some bad groceries. Like all those kind of things.
All of those are metaphors, by the way.
It's a part of the process.
And
the frustrating part is we're seeing now a lot of people who are really trying to skip the process. And the process is when you find your own voice. The process is when certain jokes, when I'm a warm-up guy or when I'm a comedian, they work on the Midwest, but they don't work in New York or they don't work in Florida, so I can't do that.
Call it, you know what I call it? I think that what experience has given me is that when you're riffing, musically or verbally, I have run myself down many dead end roads where you start a riff and you go, oh shit, that leads to this. And then so I now am in a place where no matter what happens, rarely does anything throw me because I know where the dead ends are. Like if I go there, like for instance, don't ever say, I'm not doing the next song until you all clap your hands. Sir, clap your hands. And then the guy shows you he's got one hand.
Yes.
I've done that.
Yes.
I've done that, by the way. That was awesome.
That's insane.
Yeah. No, sir, I'm not moving on until you clap along. And he finally goes, I got one hand. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh, my goodness.
But I'm using that as an extreme example of what a dead end looks like. Yeah. Like you get yourself, you're just like a maze. You walk down the wrong side, and now you realize there's no there. And then next time you realize, okay, so I can go here, but I shouldn't go there. And you can't get that without reps.
Okay, you got to do the reps. You got to do the reps. Process is the fun part. People talk about, for example, musicians figuring out their own identity, their own voice on the instrument or vocally. Those things come with reps. It comes with time. It comes with figuring out your own instrument. Nowadays, you can just go online and type in how to sing like a jazz person or how to sing like play an instrument like a country star. But it's like if you've never been in a honky tonk bar, you've never been in those spaces where you really like the vibe of it is, you'll get exposed, and it won't be a good thing because it can fuck up your ego. It can fuck up your self-esteem.
What you're talking about is the difference between media performance, where you're putting it out after you've edited or whatever, even if it's raw,
100%,
and person to person, which may be a lost art at some point. But those artists who really know how to do it on the arena level, Bruce Springsteen, I keep saying Taylor Swift, the people that do it, Lettucey, I've seen do. Some people can do that, and then you see artists who are really popular and they don't have that.
They don't have it.
As we get to wrapping this up, what's it feel like emotionally to you? What does music and the performance and the whole thing, what's it feel like to you? The reason I say this is that Robbie and I went to see Springsteen, and then I had her come and came here on the podcast, and the whole thing was joy. What she got out of that was this joy.
Music is such an emotional state. The connection that music has to your own emotions or people's emotions is very eerie because it's 1 minute you're up, 1 minute you're down, and there's music for it. 1 minute you feel crazy, 1 minute you feel sane, and there's music for it. Like there's music for literally every emotion. But for me, like because it's the only thing I've ever done, it's like I've learned how to navigate the emotions of it, mainly when I don't really feel like doing it, and it feels like a job. Those kind of things.
That's interesting.
Yeah, sometimes
I'll share what it's
like
like for me, and you tell me what it's like for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes before the show starts, I literally am like, I can't.
I'll be in my bunk until 7:48.
What happens?
The show starts at 8.
And what happens?
And it's like, I got to do it. And then when you get on the stage and you're in the moment and and you're seeing the joy in people.
Say that.
It's like, Oh yeah, we in it. Like we locked in. We having fun. We're about to put on a show for these people because you don't know what the people who have come to the show. You don't know what they sacrificed to come to the game show, to come to the concert. So it's like, you know, being a literal vessel to someone's joy is like,
my man.
It's a good feeling. I can see. I mean, it's an addictive feeling, so you got to be careful about it.
But hold on, I've broken this down. That thing.
Okay.
And it's real simple. And it applies to not just music or performance. It applies to anything.
Right.
Before the show, I'm tired. I'm in my bunk, whatever. I didn't get the catering I wanted. Why am I doing this show for this kind of money? Don't you know who I used to be? That whole thing. And the audience is maybe there's 600 people instead of 1,000. And I'm like chapped about that.
Yes.
Like I'm not feeling it. And literally backstage, I have been backstage waiting to go on and going, I can't imagine getting through the next 90 minutes.
That's it.
And then it happens. Here's what happens. The vibe before that is what is there in it for me. The vibe after that is what am I giving to you. And as I say all the time on this podcast, the best version of you, whether you like it or not, is when you're of service of others.
Yep.
Because it calls you into, you feel better. And that's what the experience is for me. Even when I can't manage to do it, as soon as I walk on stage, it's about what you want. The vessel.
Yes, 100%, 100%. Being aware of that, enjoying that, but also being in the moment of it and appreciating the moment. Every time I get ready to go, I don't feel like it. I get to do music for a living. I have worked with some artists that it's like, because you always go, you'll be ready. I mean, a lot of people aren't, but you'll be ready. You're ready for the moment. Things can happen at any moment. But I have been in some spaces where I've worked with artists, the Ciaras or the J-Los or the Manhattan Transfers or the Take Six or the Lettuces or the Stanley Clarke, who I'm working with now. Like Stanley, for example, is a musician and a composer that I have listened to for a very long time. And his movie credits are phenomenal.
Google him. He's a genius.
He's phenomenal. And working in his band, it's one of those spaces where you just like, wow. And the fact that he's so successful and so nice.
Yeah.
Sitting in, and I might not be able to talk about it because it made me sign a little bit of an NDA, but don't get
me, I don't care about you, but don't get me in trouble.
But working with J-Lo and meeting Ben Affleck and realizing how nice they were, and they weren't crazy. They were just very human. I think that's also one thing that a lot of people forget, that these people who are extremely successful are still human. I
had the same experience. Tara Perez, Tara Perez, she's a backup dancer for J-Lo.
Yes.
You know Tara?
I don't know her, but I know who you're talking about.
She says the same thing about her, that she's so great.
Everybody
Shout out to Tara, love you.
Everybody has moments where they're not in the mood and they don't want to be bothered. I get it. When you're in this business, you understand that you need to recognize it and you need to follow suit, because sometimes people don't want a picture. Sometimes people might be going through something, but all they want to hear is, doing a great job, keep killing it, and leave them alone. Like it just is what it is, especially living out here.
Hold on. But if it's me, it makes me feel good when you ask for a picture. So feel free. Even if you think I'm Chris Harrison, I'll pretend. Whatever you need.
It's a different and it's a unique space, but it's for example, with me and her, I gotta shout her out. A lot of the work that I've done, it came through a lady by the name of Kim Burse.
Okay.
Kim Burse has been the musical director and creative director for some of the biggest artists, from J-Lo to Beyonce to Shakira to Jennifer Hudson to the Black Girls Rock show that's on MTV. She's one of the industry standards from working with her and doing a bunch of stuff but she has put me in a couple of positions where it was just it was very shocking. It was very, very shocking and humbling, and it's shout out to Kim. Shout out also to Rickey Minor, who is the musical director for everything and everybody from the Emmys to the Oscar. And he was one of those people who was at the Lettucey show with the LA Philharmonic.
That's right.
And we literally met and had a conversation, and we talked, and then he started hiring me for things simply because like the energy was there. People really underestimate the power of relationships and connections also.
Let's end it right there because you just hit No, I want to end it on that thought because what I'm always looking when I talk with anybody, but especially here, you know, our professional lives actually are far more similar than I thought. You know, we're playing the same venues. It's a similar thing.
Very much so.
But there's so much to be learned. But the thing that I think is underestimated in life and in success as you're going for degrees and you're going for, you know, credential and stuff like that is that the vibe you create when you meet somebody, the willingness to learn and the willingness to be close but respectful, boundaries but close, like finding where that line is far more valuable to be successful. Because, and tell me, I know I'm not wrong, but you can just tell me I'm right because I love it hearing from you, is that on any given day in music, there are 5 drummers who can do this gig.
Yep.
Who do you want to be on the bus with?
You're only on stage for an hour and a half for 90 minutes.
The rest of the time is coexistence.
90 minutes. Who can you be around for the rest of the day? Who can you trust? Who can you be yourself? Who can they be themselves around you? Like, it's so many things. You're going to have to figure out a way to connect on a life level.
After you've got the talent.
After the talent, after the professionalism, going to have to figure out a way to connect, whether it's life stuff, video games, same background, food. One thing about her is like she kept making fun of me because I had always really good snacks in rehearsal. And it's like this, you know, but that comes from experience. Sometimes you're in rehearsal where you like it's a long rehearsal, you need snacks. These are little things that you learn with more reps and experience. And it was like we connected on that. But
and that is there's so much you've said that's valuable. And by the way,
I know, right? I'm pretty smart. But yeah, go ahead. Oh my goodness!
I want to talk.
Promise y'all, I'm way more quiet.
So bad right now. I just want to talk shit.
I'm way more quiet than this.
By the way, I love this version of us as opposed to us on the basketball court.
Yes,
entirely different. The volume is higher.
Yes,
the shit talk is higher.
Most people don't believe that I don't really scream regularly in life. I really talk right here at this volume.
This is not the same person, but that's why we do it. But I want to just give you some love, Greg, because you've said a lot of stuff that I think land. It's legit, and you know I've seen you play. You're a terrific musician, and you're
phenomenal basketball player.
You're a good basketball player. Dude, if I was 6'3" and left-handed, you'd be buying my jersey right now.
I still would be unstoppable.
You'd be unstoppable, but you'd be buying my jersey because if you had this heart and that body, come on.
Oh, my goodness. Y'all see what I have to deal with.
That's what I actually say on the court when they're picking up 5, when you got to go to a place where like, you got your 5, can I run with you, that kind of thing. And they go, no, I got my 5. I'm like, you got 4. You got 2 legs and 2 arms. What you need is this heart.
Yes.
And they say, yeah, no.
No, I'm going to say he does. He can play. I'm not going to sit here and say Mark can't play. The frustration is he doesn't. When I'm not here, he won't go play basketball. Yeah. He can play, and he's going to play hard, and he's going to hustle, and he can shoot a little bit.
We'll do it Thursday. Shooting's gotten better because of you. My guest, Greg Clarke Jr. What's your socials?
Greg Clarke Jr. Everywhere.
All right.
Literally everywhere. That's another thing before we end. All y'all people on social media that's trying to be an artist, please make your social media name simpler. If your name is Mark Wahlberg, it should not be
not simple,
it should not be King Mark on the West Side 22. It's difficult to find people. That's the first thing that happens. I promise you, I'm gonna shut up. It's the first thing that happens. When people try to hire you for acting, for music, for anything, they always say, what's your socials? If they can't find you, they can't hire you. So work on that.
I've done that, and all I get are DMs from people saying, "We love your Catholic prayer app," or "Can you get me some hamburgers?" The number of people who send me, for real, on the daily, I get pictures of people working out.
Yes.
Going, look what I'm doing, Mark, and I'm like, cool.
I don't care.
And pictures with a hamburger. Or we really respect your commitment to your faith.
That would be the most insane podcast episode if both of y'all sat here and Wahlberg to Wahlberg. Oh my goodness.
My G. Mark Wahlberg. Anytime.
Oh my God.
Anytime you want some of this, we will chop it up like the cousins we probably are. On that, thank you, my good friend.
It's all good, man.
For coming and doing my thing. And we're even now. You can keep your car in my garage for the next tour.
Oh my goodness gracious!
But stop ordering shit to my house that I have to take care of and keep. It's all right. You can order.
Oh my!
All right, we're done. Thanks for watching, you guys. We love you. See you next week.